Hi everybody, we are working on Unit 3 equations and we are working on solving two-step equations today with a learning goal of I can explain how to solve a two-step equation. All right, so let's go ahead and look at our equations. I want you to look down at all of them and let's just kind of look at what we notice. I'm going to start by drawing a line down each of the equal signs and taking a look that we have a left side and a right side to each of our equations. On one side, we have a constant, just a number, and on the other side, we have two terms. We have a term with a variable and we have a constant term. So our goal is to get that variable all by itself isolated. So I'm going to zoom in on my first equation. I'm going to erase this highlighting part right now because we don't need that highlighted. And I'm going to highlight the term that includes the variable. So here's the term that is including my variable. So on the same side as the variable, we have a plus 14. So we have to remove the 14 or minus the 14. So positive 14 and negative 14 makes 0. So this is going to be gone and I'm going to be left with just the 2x. If I subtract 14 from the left, I have to subtract 14 from the right to make sure that my equation still stays balanced. 20 minus 14 is 6. Now I'm looking at my term. I have 2x, that means 2 times x. To undo times, we have to divide. So the inverse of multiplication is division, and we're going to get x equals 3. Now you should always check your work when working with equations. I'm going to show you on one of these how to check your work, and then you may practice checking after that. So if I found that x equals 3, that means right here I need to put 3 in for x. So in place of x, I'm placing 3. And I'm going to check that my solution works. 2 times 3 is 6. 6 plus 14 is 20. So I know that I am correct. All right, remember, if anything goes too fast, you can pause, rewind, and rewatch anything. All right, going to my next equation, I'm going to find my x, or my variable, and here I'll see that there is a negative there. I can think of putting that -1 there to make it a coefficient of -1. So on the same side as my x, I have a minus 14 this time. The inverse of minus is plus or addition. So I'm going to add 14 to both sides. That makes 0. So I'm going to be left with -1x equals 56. Now this is negative x. To get rid of the negative, I can divide by -1, or I could think just take the opposite of both terms. So here I get x equals -56. I could place that in. When I put that in, it's saying the opposite of x. The opposite of x would be 56, so I do 56 minus 14, and I would check that I would get 42. All right, going down to our next equation, I'm going to find my variable. So I'm going to circle the term that includes the variable, -7f. And I'm going to look at what's on the outside of what I've circled. I have a -9. The inverse of -9 is +9. That's what will make 0. Whatever I do to the right side, I have to do to the left side. I'm going to get -7f over here, and I'm going to get 21 on the left side. All right, now I have a term left where it's -7 times f. The opposite of timesing is dividing, and I'm going to get f equals -3. All right, when we look at the bottom one, this one looks a little bit different. Now I'm going to highlight where my variable is. And you're going to notice that the variable this time is on the top of a fraction. So instead of our variable being multiplied by a number, it's being divided by something. So I'm still going to circle the variable with the term. This time the term is like right underneath it, or the constant. And now I have -7. To undo -7, I'm going to add 7. -7 and +7 makes 0, so I'm going to have z divided by 3 all over 6. This is 7 positives, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 1 negative. If you know how to add with positives and negatives, that would leave me with 6 positives. Now, this is z being divide in a fraction. This line means divide. To undo divide, I have to multiply. So I'm going to get z equals 18. I could think of this being over 1. That cancels out. I have z equals 18. All right, so when you are working, you should always circle the term that includes your variable. Look what's on the outside of your circle. You need to remove the constant first, the just number. So you're always looking, where's my variable? What side is it on? What do I need to do to get it by itself? Usually we're going to add or subtract first and then multiply or divide to get our variable isolated. So you should also work on writing your summaries down here. Write what are the steps involved necessary to solve a two-step equation. All right, I want to see those circles. Thanks for listening.